Now, am I right in saying this is based on the Inner Space poster?
Yeah, it's like I watched the first film anyway, or the trailers for the first film. And it's like it cried out, like, you know, that nostalgia feel cried out to me. Like, there's a lot of like things that kind of like, you know, work between both films, and I'm sure there was definitely, you know, inspiration taken from that film and some of the ideas. And when the second film came out and it was traveling inside of space, and plus the robot machinery as well, that would be a perfect sort of like parody of that piece, but, you know, parody in the sense of that's paying homage to it. So that's a piece that I did for fun, to be honest. And it's like it's one of the things you make notes of little ideas you have, and certain ones you just have to do, whether it's just for fun, but you just have to put pen to paper.
And do you find that some of the ones that you do just for fun that Marvel or Disney will then kind of adopt as official images?
I mean, it's happened before in the sense I've done something for fun or done just because I had an idea, and then I've been approached by the studios that can we purchase this and let's use it officially. So I don't think there's never a wrong thing in the sense you should never do something just for fun, because you never know where it'll lead. So it's, for my career, it's been great.
And then to one of the most fun Marvel movies, Guardians of the Galaxy. Again, did you see the movie first before coming up with this image?
No, this was, I mean, majority of the stuff that I ended up doing is generally at the trailer stage, because like everyone else, even though when you're working officially for Marvel, it's like there's only so much they can give away, and they generally won't give you anything because they want to keep it secret for everyone else. And as a fan, that's great because you don't spoil the movie. So I generally look at a trailer or any synopsis and try and pull it apart and see where like the underlying story is, and try and put yourself in the shoes of the director and think, okay, how would I visually see this movie as a poster? So I remember I drew this one when I still had like my day job when I was a full-time illustrator, and I drew that on the back of on a post-it note. I got home that night and I started drawing it, and I finished it the next day. But it was just a very iconic idea of Star-Lord being very much about the music, and that really is what encapsulates that character and makes him who he is, and try and create that in one scene.
And like a lot of your ideas, it's deceptively simple.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It but as you say, boils down to the essence, and yet you still know exactly what you're looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel that with your work, if we take away the titles, that people would still get it
people
straight
would still
away?
get what it was. I mean, the idea behind it is like, I think back from my old print days, it's called economy of ink. So you should only use as much ink as you need to get the idea across. So there's everything that's not necessarily required I cut from my pieces, and draw the bare minimum that I need to get the idea across. I also help as well because when I started literally illustrating, as I had a day job, so I'd fit in more my illustration work in the evenings and weekends. So making the most of that time was, okay, let's just draw as much as we need to, and that kind of has worked for me.
And I've certainly got this in my collection at home in a way, because I get Empire, and I'm lucky enough to get the subscriber covers. Is it lucrative to be asked to do one of these covers? I mean, just on a... From
I guess from a financial point of view, I think a lot of people think you're an artist and you do that just from a pure, passion point of view.
Yeah.
But I would say to anyone that's looking to become an artist or becoming an illustrator, it's lucrative. I mean, it pays the bills.
Yeah.
So it never. I mean, the term that always goes around is starving artists, but I think that's quite demeaning to the field. So it's like it's a lucrative, it's a career, and it's okay. A very well-to-do career, I guess.
And it's a wonderful cover that again completely conveys the essence of the character, the sort of becoming of the character in the film. It just does all that with such efficiency. It's amazing.
I mean, when I got the piece, it was on my bucket list for 2019 to do a cover for Empire, and the funniest thing is, December, I got contacted by the creative director and said, would you like to do the next cover? And I was like, great, I was hoping for this for next year, and it's come through already, so I was pinching myself at the time. Amazing. And to do Captain Marvel as well, I was like, this would be amazing to start the year off. So just before Christmas, we spent the next week and a half to 2 weeks just working on the cover with the creative director. So I was just so happy that that my ideas came across and they liked my ideas. That it was somewhat simple in what it is, in a sense. You're not necessarily seeing Brie Larson herself as a face or anything, but they kind of like that idea. I think just to make it a bit different. And it's more, I would say, more of an art piece than it is like the poster in the traditional sense. Yeah. But I wanted that. I wanted to stand out from the different covers as well.
And then we move on to this, which I love the colour scheme on this sort of sunset silhouetted feel that you get. I mean, this is probably the biggest movie anyone could have done any illustration for last year. I mean, or for, was it this year?
This year, yeah. I know the years it seems so long ago.
But what's it? Did they contact you and say, right, we want to?
So this particular piece was officially done for the release of the film, and it's through one of the agencies I work for, which is the Poster Posse. So they came to us and said, we'd like you to do a poster for the film. We got the brief, and the brief was pretty much, don't do this or don't do that, and don't give, like, in a sense, try not to give too much away to the audience, because I think that's the beauty of the film. There were so many things hidden within that film that if you knew beforehand, it really ruined your enjoyment. So it's like, it's trying to, like, okay, let's only give them as much as they need to see and still keep them excited for the film.
So how did you come up with the idea of this sort of reflection on the... What sort of drove that?
I was like, I wanted, well, the kind of the inspiration from this piece partly was that iconic Wolverine cover of his claws, and you see the reflection of Hulk in that. So that was the kind of thing that I was thinking in my head, okay, I want to draw Thanos, I want to draw people against Thanos, the team that we know, but I don't want it just to be people standing up against other people. So I wanted to find a fun sort of way of depicting that, and that, like, having watched the last, couple of trailers that we did have, that new sword that he had was like so foreboding. I was like, I've got to have that in there, and that's that scene of him. So that was the idea of having the reflection. And the other thing with the whole sunset thing was just harking back to the other films. It was like Black Widow's and Bruce's relationship, and the sun's getting real low, and this is like the sun.
Yes,
the sun's also setting on the Avengers as we know them today. So that's the reason,
brilliant.
That's the reason for that sort of that colour scheme and now having the sunset behind it.
That's fantastic.